out of my body and she was in my body. And I let her speak through me.
Oh.
A teenage boy steps into a parking lot to meet a man about a summer job. He never comes back. A high school senior finishes her shift at the mall. Her car is found abandoned, purse on the seat, keys still in the ignition. In both cases, there are no witnesses, no clear suspects, no answers. And when logic reaches its limit, detectives do something few will admit publicly. They turn to psychics. This is the story of how two separate serial killers were exposed, and how some investigators believe intuition helped point the way. December 11th, 1978. In the quiet suburb of Des Plaines, Illinois, 15-year-old Tommy Billow finishes work at a neighborhood drugstore. His mother is waiting to drive him home for his birthday celebration. Before leaving, Tommy steps outside to speak with a contractor who had stopped by earlier about shelving work. Minutes pass, then more. Tommy never returns. By morning,
the report came into our office regarding a missing 15-year-old boy from the Des Plaines area.
Teenager from Des Plaines.
A missing persons report lands on the desk of a local detective. The case feels personal. Tommy is a student at the same high school as the detective's own son. He's known as responsible, focused, and ambitious. There is no history of running away, no signs of rebellion, nothing that suggests he would simply disappear. The only clue is a first name, John, and a phone number provided by the store owner. When police trace the number, they uncover a disturbing record. The man connected to it has prior convictions for sexual assault involving teenage boys. His name, John Wayne Gacy.
And literally, when that information came over the phone, the hair on the back of our necks just stood up because we were like dumbfounded that here we had this guy. He was one of the last people supposedly talking to this young man, and now he's a sex offender. I decided that we would go to Gacy's house to talk to Gacy.
Detectives visit Gacy's home. He appears cooperative but evasive. He denies speaking with Tommy. Without a warrant, there's little they can do. Then they obtain one. Inside the house...
No, but you can come in if you want.
We'd like to do that, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Gacy?
Officers find clothing that doesn't fit Gacy. A class ring from Tommy's school. Driver's licenses belonging to young men who are not Gacy. A receipt from the drugstore where Tommy worked. And beneath the house, a crawl space. The dirt floor is coated with lime. There is no visible fresh digging. But something feels wrong. Still, it isn't enough to make an arrest. Days turn into weeks. Surveillance teams monitor Gacy's house. The air around the property grows tense.
The whole floor of the closet was, in fact, a trap door leading to a crawl space area under Gacy's house.
I'm gonna go get my flashlight.
Officers note a strange odor drifting from the foundation vents. The investigation stalls. It's at this point that a colleague suggests something unconventional, consulting a psychic. The lead detective is skeptical, but Tommy is still missing, and there are no other leads. The psychic studies personal belongings taken from Tommy's room. As she focuses, she describes overwhelming fear. She senses death.
To say the least. I asked him who the lady was, and he said her name was Carol Broman.
And the minute he walked in the door, I knew I had trouble.
She essentially looked at me and said, "You don't believe in this stuff, do you?"
Not just one victim, many. She describes bodies buried together, an arch-like pattern beneath the structure. She speaks of construction sites, water, a vehicle marked with a prominent letter. Detectives take careful notes, unsure what to believe. Then they compare her impressions with the facts. Gacy runs a construction business. His van bears a large painted letter. His house sits above a crawl space large enough to conceal something. Police return with a second warrant. This time they dig. The odor intensifies. Soil is disturbed. What they uncover shocks even seasoned investigators.
She said, "They'll be buried together. They're buried in an ark." Thoughts were just racing through my head as to what is I don't have any more information about any other missing people here. And what is she talking about?
I could smell death. The smell is unmistakable.
Body after body is recovered from beneath the house, 29 in total. Young men and teenage boys buried in a curved formation around the foundation. Gacy confesses to dozens of murders over 6 years. But one body is missing. Tommy Billow is not in the crawl space. Investigators expand their search beyond Cook County. Another psychic, brought in later, predicts a specific spring date when Tommy's body will surface. She describes a river, a bridge, towns with repeated letters in their names. Months later, as snow melts, authorities receive a call from a neighboring county. A body has been found along a riverbank, 60 miles from Gacy's home. Dental records confirm it is Tommy. Gacy had disposed of him separately, dumping his body from a bridge into icy water. In 1980, John Wayne Gacy is convicted of 33 murders and sentenced to death. He is executed in 1994. For many involved, the psychic impressions remain controversial. Were they intuition shaped by subtle cues, coincidence, or something more? The debate continues, but the story doesn't end in Illinois. November 23, 1982. In Morris County, New Jersey, high school senior Mandy Simpson leaves her job at a shopping mall just before Thanksgiving. An hour later, her mother finds her car abandoned in the parking lot. Her purse is inside. The keys are still in the ignition. A canine unit tracks her scent briefly, then it stops. 2 days later, Mandy's body is discovered inside an abandoned water tank in nearby woods. She has been stabbed multiple times and sexually assaulted. Investigators withhold key details from the public to preserve the integrity of the case. Witnesses recall seeing a man sitting in an older model Chevrolet near Mandy's car before she disappeared. The description is vague, brown hair, unsettling presence, but there's no license plate number. Police canvass tirelessly. No suspect emerges. Then, 2 weeks later, another young woman disappears under similar circumstances. Her name is Tina Finnegan. Her car is found abandoned on a dark road. Hours later, she staggers to a trucker at a highway rest stop, bleeding from stab wounds. She dies before reaching the hospital. The pattern is undeniable. A serial killer is operating in Morris County. A local psychic, Nancy Orland Weber, hears about the case through acquaintances. Without prompting from police, she reports visions of an abduction, a knife, and water. She senses a name beginning with James, multiple syllables, Polish heritage, a connection to Florida. When detectives eventually agree to meet her, she accompanies them to the crime scenes without being told specific details. At the mall parking lot, she identifies the approximate space where Mandy had parked. She describes the suspect waiting in his car, watching. At the second scene, she senses the victim fought back. She describes stabbing in the chest, information not publicly released. Most strikingly, she insists the killer previously served time in Florida for murder. Detectives quietly verify. There is indeed a man fitting the general description, living locally with a Florida homicide conviction. Recently paroled. His name, James Coeditic. Before police can gather sufficient evidence for a warrant, Coeditic makes a desperate move. He calls 911 claiming he was attacked and stabbed by a stranger matching the composite sketch of the Morris County killer. He presents himself as a victim, but the wound appears self-inflicted. Because he has reported an assault, investigators can examine his vehicle without a warrant. Inside, they discover fibers and blood evidence linking him to both victims. Tire impressions match tracks found near Tina's abandoned car. Coeditic is arrested and later convicted of the murders of Mandy Simpson and Tina Finnegan. He receives life sentences. In both Illinois and New Jersey, the involvement of psychics remains a point of controversy. Law enforcement agencies do not officially endorse paranormal methods. Evidence, not intuition, secures convictions. And yet, in moments when investigations stalled, detectives were willing to listen, not as proof but as possibility. Were the psychics guided by unseen forces? Or did they unconsciously interpret subtle clues that others overlooked? There are no scientific answers. What remains undeniable is the scale of the crimes. John Wayne Gacy became one of the most notorious serial killers in American history. James Coedetic nearly continued his spree had he not been stopped. Behind every theory are real victims, real families, real grief, and sometimes, when the trail goes cold and fear grips a community, investigators search in every direction, even into the unknown. Because when someone is abducted, and silence follows, you chase every lead, even the ones you can't explain.